Welcome to the channel once again. This is where we talk about matters international education, how to get into international schools, teaching them and thriving them to produce more responsible students and hopefully more responsible citizens of the world. Now, we've been looking at SEL, social emotional learning. We've looked at various things in them. We took the framework of the ATL skills in IB, what we call the ATL skills, approaches to learning. And today I want us to shift focus a bit and talk about coping mechanisms among students. What are coping mechanisms among students and even among grown-ups? But we are more interested in our learners and how we can help them. Sometimes things happen in life that are a bit unpleasant, that we are not able to process or to deal with. And sometimes our brains sort of shift the attention or the blame, or we don't want to deal with these issues. So we come up with coping mechanisms. And there are various coping mechanisms that are recognized, and they help us, though they are unpleasant, but they help us to deal with stressful situations. But the thing is, even as they're helping us cope, we are not dealing with a problem. So it is important to recognize that we have coping mechanisms and which ones are they, and how students use them, and how we can address them. We, as leaders of learning, as parents, as people who are charged with the responsibility of shaping the next generation. One of the coping mechanisms is called displacement. Displacement is where someone looks for something weaker to shift their blame on, to take out their blame on, or their anger on, or their negative impulses on, because the cause of the negative emotion is too strong for them, also is too uncomfortable. The other one is projection, where someone ascribes a negative attribute of their own to other people. For example, a student who is planning to cheat in an exam may accuse other students of cheating themselves. So that is called projection. The other one is denial, where someone does not own up to the fact that there is something they need to work on. For example, a student is failing in a subject and they deny, and they say, no, I'm good in this subject, maybe the marking or the grading is too strict, or the teacher does not like me, and so on and so forth. So these are just some of the coping mechanisms that are there, and it's not just the students that have them. Even we as grown-ups, we have them, and we need to recognize them and unlearn them. And only in this way can we help our students to have the right coping mechanisms. Self-care, knowing your emotions, taking breaks, speaking out against, speaking out about what is unpleasant to you, working on your weaknesses, asking for help, going for counseling. All these things we tell our students, but we also, as leaders of learning, as parents, we also need to do them so that we can model a good example to the children, we can model a good example to the students, and they will be able to cope. The thing with coping mechanisms is, yes, they do work in the short term, but in the long term, they do come out in other negative ways. They come out as stress, disease, stomach ulcers, aggression, and so on. So the best thing is to recognize them. We have talked about self-awareness in this series. When we were talking about social emotional learning, we learn about them, we become self-aware. What are those triggers? What are the negative emotions? And then we address them. And we as parents and we as teachers can help our students to do this by modeling, by talking about them explicitly, by giving them safe space where they can talk. Because if a student feels that they will be blamed for a negative emotion or for something that they bring out, then they will go to these negative coping mechanisms that we don't want. So in the next videos, I'll be looking at each one of them, and then we'll unpack and see what each one of them means and give examples for each, and then we see how we can help students to get out of them. Thank you, and see you in the next one. Thank you.